Boom! Welcome to the Fight Show. This is your boy. They call me the Fight Doctor. And I thank you guys for watching because you watching Master Boxing. And we're going to break down the Keith Thurman and the Robert the Ghost Guerrero fight tonight on PBC on NBC Boxing. It's back in the building, everybody. This is a new day in the sport of boxing. And it was an epic night of fights. First, we had Adrien Broner going up against John Molina, and we'll break that down in the post-fight after this one, so you can just check that post. But right now, we're about to get into Keith Thurman. Keith one-time Thurman, known for dropping them hammers. And one thing that was impressive about this fight, and you guys know I break the fight world down round by round. One thing that was impressive about this fight is I had done a post on one of the most unique fighters in this current day, boxer, puncher, Keith one-time Thurman, several months ago at his last fight. After the fight, then the post is called Keith Thurman, No Ordinary Fighter. Well, there are several people who have posted since that day that Keith Thurman was a hype job, which is obviously that these people don't know a lot about boxing. Because from the outside, if you're just a fan, one thing is not apparent, that you can't fake power. You can't fake boxing mobility and agility and angles and those things. It takes a lot of years to be able to perform those things inside of the ring. And that's why you listen to a channel where the guy is a professional at this sport. Because I break the fight world down in increments. And one thing that Keith Thurman is he is the true, solid, golden pedigree. Is he fake? No. Is he a phony? No. Is he the real deal? For sure. And he proved it tonight against the heralded veteran in Robert the Ghost Guerrero, who's done 12 rounds with the pound-for-pound king, Floyd Money Mayweather. And these things right now need to be apparent to those who are just fans. There comes a point where you do not quite understand the science behind that goes behind the sport of boxing. Because until you lace them up and do months and years inside of that ring and understand what it truly takes to do what those guys do when it comes to a powerful onslaught coming your way. Most of you haven't even done mitts or worked the bag for rounds at a time at a pace coached by someone. But those who have, you understand what I mean. And when you saw what my man Keith Thurman did in the ring tonight, he took the fight, he walked out and carried the fight. Not only did he go out there and perform like a true soldier and a heralded veteran, he showed his ring cachet using angles, turns, shifts, just slight movements, feints, in and outs. He was doing everything that it takes to keep guys off balance. He even for a short while shifted southpaw like he said he would do. He promised that he would come straight out and he'd throw punches from the body to the head. And he did just that. Right hooks to the body, straight rights to the face, right hooks over the top, left hooks to the body. Non-stop onslaught by one of the top fighters in the game today. And yes, he's a champion and he continues to hold his crown, and he holds it with pride now. Because a lot of fighters talk that talk, but Keith Thurman actually walks that walk, and he promised that he would go out there and do what he needed to do. But he showed the mainstream boxing fans that there are exciting fighters inside the sport at the top level. And without further ado, let's tilt our hats to Keith one-time Thurman. Like I said months ago, no ordinary fighter. Because most guys would have broken down when Robert Guerrero gained momentum in the 10th round and started pressing him. And he started to move and turn and angle. And he had that big blood clot on his head from the headbutt early in the fight by Robert Guerrero. So Keith one-time Thurman didn't even bat an eye. He continued to fight as if it wasn't there. But back in the day, back in 2000, and it may have been 2000, and it was right before the Tyson fight that Holyfield had with Rockman, and they clashed head, and he put a big giant knot on his head, and basically it's like a hematoma. It's just full of blood, and that was the same thing that happened to my man Keith Thurman tonight. But he just shrugged it off, continued to box, continued to throw punches. He came right out and he wanted to entertain. And that's what he did, entertain, because you were on the edge of your seats, because as he performed for the first 8-9 rounds, dropping Robert the Ghost Guerrero with a right uppercut, and Guerrero just folds down to the canvas and the fight looks over. And then the next thing you know, he gets up off the canvas, dusts himself off. Keith throws several more combinations on him, trying to finish him, throwing several haymakers, throwing nothing but heat at him. He survives himself to the round, and then he goes in there and goes out and try to presses the fight in the next round. And another thing that comes to fruition is Robert survives it. And then he brings his fighting game to the table. He starts to perform better than he did all night. And like I said, he got him against the rope, which is Keith Thurman, and started hammering at the body, hammering at the head. Keith was doing what he needed to do, rolling the shoulders. He took a few shots, nothing to cause damage. It was more exhaustion, but Robert brought pressure, and he showed a championship pedigree, something that Keith Thurman had not yet dealt with, but I knew he could deal with it because Keith Thurman is the goods, and you can't fake the goods. I am a coach, and I understand when I see a pure raw fighter and that he has those necessary components. Dan Birmingham wouldn't be dealing with this guy if he didn't have what it takes to be great in that squared circle. So we gotta give hats off to the Birmingham corner, Keith Thurman, Robert Ghost Guerrero. But one thing about Robert the Ghost Guerrero, and that's his corner. When your corner is only telling you to go out, go, you know what to do, throw punches, hit them, that's a bad sign. Because when a fighter is in dismay, one of the things that needs to be said by the corner is something that he can actually go out and do specifically. And it's clear that his corner is not that. And like I said, when it comes down to it, you need to be able to communicate with a fighter because he's confused, he's in pain, he's exhausted, he's deeper in water than he's been in training camp, chances are, when he's in a tide that deep. And Thurman had him in some deep water. These things are noted by people like me because I understand what a fighter needs whenever he's in that position, and he needs to hear the right things. He needs to see the right connection in between your eyeballs. Because at the end of the day, his life is on the line because Keith Thurman is throwing hammers at him. And that's one of the things that you have to take with you. And we got to give shouts off to the broadcast crew, Al Michaels, Sugar Ray Leonard, Layla Ali. This was a great night of fights. This is the Fight Doctor Show, and we thank you guys for watching us, because you're watching Master Boxing, and this is where we break the fight world down, baby, round by round. Be sure to watch the Adrien Broner John Molina post this morning later. Peace out. We on network TV now, baby. Boxing for life. Peace.